to the Glasgow 2024
Hello.
Twitch stream. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a Twitch stream as part of Glasgow 2024, the Worldcon that happened in Glasgow in August 2024. We're very sorry, it's already happened. You can no longer go. But please do check
time
out...
travel, then you're in on it.
Yes. But please do check out the up-and-coming Worldcons, their websites. Got loads of information on them. Hugo voting for the next Worldcon has also just opened, is my understanding. So if that is something that you're interested in, please go check it out.
I did not know that. Thank you, Alex.
I got the email the other day. Because I asked for my information to be passed on. But yeah, please do check them out. As always, please consider donating to our fan fund, to the fan fund, my apologies. The Glasgow 2024 fan fund has now closed because our convention is over. We've passed it on to the next one. But the next few conventions, Seattle and LA, should still have fan fund links on their website, so you can go check them out and donate to them if you like, and that way you can help fans that wouldn't normally be able to afford going to conventions get to conventions. And the flip side of that is, if you would like some financial aid at getting to conventions, please do check out the fan fund on the next few Worldcons pages, or just on their own page, as it were, as well. And you can maybe qualify for some help to get to conventions. This is also not locked to just Worldcons. They do help people get to a variety of conventions. So please do contact them.
EasterCon, Eurocon, SMOFCon.
Others
probably exist.
SMOF?
Secret Masters of Fandom.
That's
It's
great.
conventions about. It's a convention about running conventions.
That's great.
Secret Masters of Fandom.
I just thought it was a
You're
funny
there
word.
behind the scenes, pulling all the strings.
I haven't packed Bigby.
Oh no!
I don't know where
What
he is.
Yeah, right.
What about Rosie, the sheep?
No, she's not been with us for a while.
Oh, okay.
I know.
That's fine.
My luck really improved when I stopped bringing her.
Yeah, please check out the Fan Fund website. I'm sure they can you can either donate on there, or they could help you out if you're interested in trying to get to a convention. Okay.
Woo.
This is Hell and Highwater session 28, I
Nice.
believe.
29!
29.
You're getting closer.
I am getting closer.
But they're
So,
getting farther away.
this is a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live play. Is that the right term? I've forgotten again.
Actual play, let's
Actual play,
play,
let's play.
live stream,
Sure. That one.
some combo.
We're playing D&D. Mostly.
Yeah.
D&D. This is a homebrew world, which is my world, but it is heavily influenced by everything, as I have stolen everything from somewhere else that I liked it, whether that is other D&D stuff or general fantasy.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there's anything else.
Did you say your name?
No, never got that bit in my head yet.
Alright.
It's fine. It's not important.
Nah, you don't need to know that. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the Dungeon Master. I run everything that isn't these three. Do you like to introduce yourself?
You just
No,
That's
it's fine.
Okay. I'm Isla. I play Kai. They are a half-elf bard. Just bard.
Just Bard.
Just Bard.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Will. I play Adolin. Adolin, he is an Aasimar ranger. That's it. That shouldn't have been hard to remember.
It's been like, to be fair,
It's been a little bit.
A month and a
a
half.
month and a half.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Been a busy month.
Hi, I'm Rosie. I'm playing Polly. She is an Aasimar Circle of Bees Druid / Paladin, Oath of the Watchers.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Very cool.
It's your jumper for the musical.
Yes. I was telling you about this.
Not about your jumper specifically.
No, last time I saw you, I was
Yes.
like, you should. Yeah. It was a very belated Secret Santa gift that I got like last
That's
weekend.
very okay. Yeah,
Okay.
just 5 months late.
Yeah, so I think with that we should jump into the recap of the last session, if Will is willing.
Yeah.
What?
Set an alarm and set it to a normal sound this time.
Please.
The most
I don't-
stressful noise imaginable.
I don't know why. Like, there's a default one, and I set it to the default one, and then it keeps changing it. Anyway, go.
Go.
Oh god, okay. When last we left our heroes, we just come out of a brutal, long fight to try and detach a demonic, infernal chain that was holding the city of Perlmar down to the plains of Avernus, the first layer of the Hells. 3 teams had gone out to try and detach these 3 anchor points. Our party, being certified badasses,
Hell yeah.
had one all themselves. And after a rather tricksy fight with a lot of bad guys and a little bit of devilish politicking, we released it. And then we started to trudge back to the temple in the centre of the city. And it turns out that we were some of the first ones back. We had done it way quicker than the other 2 teams. And
We're
upon
just that good.
we are that
Just
good. And upon getting back, I think Kai and Polly were ready for a bit of a sit down. Adolin did not want to go for a debrief with Knights of Ash leadership and thought, I might just go help one of the other teams, and promptly took off to go help them. But Kai and Polly did go inside and start spreading the good word of the angel.
Our Lord and
Eofiel.
Savior.
Yeah. Maybe our new
Have
god.
you heard the word?
Their preaching, casual preaching, caught the attention of the guard, brought them up to see the High Observer, leader of the Knights of Ash, who wishes to meet this angel that's out there helping his knights. They passed the word to Adolin, who by this point has arrived with the second team led by Knight Commander Zolani, being assisted by the angel Eofiel. And then after they released their chain, Adolin gives a very awkward introduction of like, "Excuse me, Herald of the Divine, would you like to meet my boss?" So she also goes, "Yes, that sounds great."
Strange knight who I've never met before.
Yeah. Adolin helps the
That's
knights
right.
back to the temple. I goes up to help team number 3. We then, upon all returning, pitch our plan for her to save the city via Eofiel to the Knights of Ash leadership to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, our initial plan of just reversing the ritual that brought the city here probably isn't going to work for one reason or another. However, if we take our angel here, ascend her to godhood, she can like claim the city as her divine domain. Everybody within it will have the option to come with her to the upper planes or just go back to the material plane." And the Knights of Ash leadership seemed to buy
Always
it.
go up there, but some of them didn't just stay there
Mm.
if they didn't want to.
That was it.
Yeah, which was an issue for our pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they seemed to buy it. And we think we might have actually pulled one over on them because we knew this was the plan all along. And we totally lied about that, but it's fine. And after the meeting disperses, Polly goes back into eavesdrop via one of your little bees.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
To see if the Knights of Ash leadership are getting suspicious at all or figuring out our plans. The High Observer seems to have a real narc on about getting the city back to the material plane, but it's not quite clear as to why. But everybody else seems pretty relaxed and thinks we have a way out. This isn't, it wasn't plan A, but it's a plan. So we're going to go with it. Eofiel leaves to heal people, the sick, the injured, and states that given all the fighting today, a rest would be in order before attempting the big plan, the big elevation, the cunning plan, which we don't quite know all the details of yet. But I don't know. I imagine it's like in the office when he's like, "I declare bankruptcy." She's just going to walk into the middle of the temple and go, "I declare godhood." There's a flash of light and we all win, and the credits roll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what all
Perfect.
this is for.
Yeah, that sounds so
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah, totally.
I'm excited to see how Alex does that flash of light.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be pretty cool.
We use the laser effects.
Yeah, we just open this and it's just the
It's
reflection
just-
of the pigeon stuff. Yeah.
I just release pigeons into the room. Been collecting them for months.
That's my 25-minute recap.
Good job. Proud of you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Right.
That's good. Oh,
Did we find out the upshot of Garen's conversation with Eofiel and his allergies?
no.
It was a hardcore maybe, and I think we ended it with if we could put him into a pocket dimension, he'd be safe in there.
Oh my god, yeah, Garen's
yeah.
going to explode.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
was
yeah.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, his
Sorry.
really bad hay fever.
So Alex had hardcore drawn a line that we cannot put him in the bag of holding.
No.
Yeah.
But
No.
I feel like we could.
find another, like if we could
He might
find
not be
like
alive
a
afterwards, but
portable
we could
hole
put
or
him in.
something. Then maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that conversation did go one step further, if folk remember.
I know that they had been making. I can't remember what it
We're
was.
going to
but
put him in not the armory, the treasury?
Yeah, there's like a demi-plane vault
Yeah.
or something.
What's his face? The old wizard man. He had been.
Sir
using-
Siren.
That's the one. Thank you.
Kai's best friend.
Guy's best friend. Sorry.
The lore dumper.
He had been doing some shenanigans with the thing going. So was that the extent of it that we can maybe shove him in there?
No. Yeah, so you had a lot of these discussions with Garen of how can we get you onto that plane and then
Yeah.
out of that plane.
Uh-huh.
And then you involved Eofiel into that discussion. And there was the beginnings of a discussion of can we cure him
Oh.
of the curse. And at that point you were asked to leave the room.
Yes.
Okay, so
You have-
they were hashing that out. We don't need to worry about that so
Eofiel,
much.
Garen, and
Lena.
Lena
Lena
stayed
wants
for
to
that
be involved.
conversation. And then you all split off to do other things. Which I think was a bit of eavesdropping, and I forget what you were doing.
Probably Adolin went straight to pass out. Or just like sit and fret that their plan is going to be uncovered at any moment. So
I mean, the plan has been uncovered purposely. We have like really put it out there. The only thing that has not been uncovered is like, and this was the goal
all
the
along.
whole time.
Yeah.
But like, I think we've passed that now. We should be
I
okay.
don't think it's been made clear to the Knights of Ash that this will ascend Io to
No,
godhood.
yes,
No.
that's true.
Yeah.
Your
That
nails
is-
are really cute.
Thank
They
you.
are.
Yeah, very cute. Sorry.
It's
That's
okay. I
Um,
match my ring and I like it.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's never been made clear to the Knights of Ash that this will ascend Io to godhood. You kind of
Yeah.
just skipped over that.
Yeah,
bit
no,
of it.
we're just like, if we have enough, if we wish hard enough, then this can happen. She can do it.
She's taking us all to paradise.
Yeah.
Yes. Salt Lake City.
Saltele Cassiti. You should see the lyrics of that written down. It looks nothing like the words Salt Lake City.
No, they run it into one word and stuff like that. It's really stable. It's really fun. Sorry. Yes. So, I think that's as far as we got before we stopped from the last session. So you haven't long rested yet. What are we thinking of doing immediately? Or are we immediately thinking of going to bed?
How long a day has it been? Because we've done a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was like short.
I would say it's probably late afternoon by now because you've had a lot
Okay.
of meetings,
Yeah.
a lot of running backwards and forwards and stuff like that. A lot of yes, and there was a dinner at one point that you awkwardly had around a table.
I thought that was just a meeting.
There was soup.
Well,
stuff.
yeah, there
was
was
soup.
soup. There was soup.
You've had multiple meetings today
Yeah.
with like various groups and stuff like that.
Kyle's married.
What?
That was a thing.
Was
He
it?
didn't get married, but I remember that conversation. It was
Oh,
a
he
long
went-
time ago.
he went
but
off to, like, deal
he's
with
in
a-
another plane. He got married a few years ago.
Oh.
We don't need to worry about him.
Yeah.
He was off dealing with a hag or something.
Oh yeah, you were
Ah.
asking like, does he have a
Is
partner?
he good, or are we just gonna leave him in hell? And
I think you were asking like, does he have a partner we need to talk about or
Yeah,
something?
next of
and I
kin.
think Garen was like, he's married, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, we were saying he's been gone for
Insane.
ages. And I was like, I bet he's gone and gotten married or something. He's like, oh, he already did.
He's already done that bit, yeah.
I straight up forgot about that. What a guy.
What a guy.
What a Kyle. Okay, so do we know what we're doing?
Not the slightest.
No, I'm not sure there's anything to really... Like, is there anything we need to prepare for at this point?
Not really. I think I'm still currently eavesdropping. I can't remember if I sent BB or if I turned into. I think I turned
Polly
into
wild
yeah.
shaped
wild
into
shape.
bee and
Because I
goes to
wanted
command center.
I wanted my stats to be better than
Yeah.
BB's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can do some rituals if we need them, but I don't have a lot on me at the moment. Oh, I have so many new abilities that I need to remember.
Oh, with the Watcher subclass?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool.
I'm really excited to use them.
I mean, we're not anticipating any other combat encounters today. It seems like
Yeah.
the devils aren't going to be trying to crash the place because they have no leadership at the moment. Or less leadership. Glazzi's still out there, but also doesn't seem to want to interfere with our plan. The demons are sort of kept at bay now because we broke the chains, which means they can't crawl up and from the plane. So if there's a threat to this plan, I imagine it's only going to come from some knights
Within.
discovering the
Yeah.
truth and going, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
she killed a number of our order several centuries ago. So I think Adolin would actually suggest, like, even though we are kind of inside the temple and safe, sleeping in shifts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
keeping an eye out for danger,
Yeah.
possibly keeping an eye on Eofiel as well, just to make sure that she doesn't get like ambushed in the night by.
I mean, I agree, but also I think she'll be fine. She'll
She
be
can
fine.
take them.
I
Yeah.
think she'd probably take them. Just wouldn't chance it really. Maybe Gregwin can spare a couple of loyalist cultist knights to keep an eye on her or something. I don't know. Not quite sure what the numbers
Okay.
of the cult are.
And what is our anticipation for tomorrow? Like, this is less a plan for like the rest of our evening, and I'm more conscious about like what spells should I be prepping for tomorrow. Like, can we do a vibe check on what that's gonna be? Is it just gonna be more like above the table? Rosie can see this,
Yes.
so it's like really I'm struggling to be like, what does Polly envision the next day to actually look like? You know.
I think we should anticipate something going wrong or someone trying to stop things.
Yeah, like I like even if I couldn't see all of this,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, I'm just gonna do all like random kind of social spells because like we're in hell.
Yeah.
Are there any stories, and I guess it's from, you know, it might have started as like an arcane thing, it might have gone to a religious thing, of if somebody's ever tried to ascend to godhood in the past, and the rest of the gods have gotten together to go, absolutely not, and try and stop it, would Adolin have read of any stories of this? I'm totally shooting for a religion check here.
I'm gonna give you a history check.
Okay.
Who has history?
Lena.
Lena, can I real
She's
quick get you
not
the telepathic bond?
In the moment.
Lena,
No. She's having a moment.
Lena, please.
They're having a moment.
Can I get the help action? Can I be like, and here's my things that I remember.
And I know why you're going for the help action, because you want advantage. I can tell you that there are...
I want to support
I'm not going
my
to give it for a
pal.
help action on a history check, I'm afraid, because I don't think you have relevant knowledge that is going to help for this.
Dear.
However, the library is still downstairs.
Oh, there you go.
And I can tell you
Read a
that
book.
may be helpful.
Cool.
Let's do that.
Adolin will cease his nervous pacing and go down there instead.
Go
You also know
steady.
there is remnants of the restricted section. It's a bit beaten up at this point.
Beaten up, fireballed.
So
Yeah.
you
Marian's
could also
about-
check there.
Somewhere.
Cool. That sounds good. You're eavesdropping.
Yeah, I mean, call me back whenever though.
Cool.
If you need anything, or if I hear anything pertinent, I can be like, can you Google this for me real quick? I don't know this word.
Just over the pond.
They keep saying this. Yeah.
Means this.
Hey, I can't be asked Googling this. Can you do it for me?
Who's this guy from that thing?
Fuck's sake.
Actually, I probably will be doing that because the only person she remembers is Sir Siren, and she'll be like the guy from the Dave Matthews Band, but not Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
One.
Oh. William, the one who's sus now.
Yeah,
Sus.
He's sus.
Sus.
Yeah.
he is a little sus.
Is he?
Hello.
He's in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So?
Anybody who's a boss or in charge in any capacity is sus. That's why I thought you were sus when I was working for you during Worldcon. I was like, this don't seem right.
Yeah. Sus.
Meg, even susser than you. Matt, also incredibly sus.
I mean, we all have to keep
Esther,
secrets as part of that.
So up there.
I know.
The most. sus.
Perhaps the most sus, yes.
Yeah.
The most honest, least suspicious person ever. Will.
PA.
PA. Bottom of the chain.
Have some coffee. Have some cake.
Yeah. And I trusted
Remember
that
to
coffee. I did.
I'll come to the library with you.
Library.
Yeah.
Grand. We'll peel off down to the library and start Do you want to say the restricted section or the upstairs section?
Do we still have the restricted section? Because remember, it got cut. Oh no, we fought in it, but
Yeah.
we
We
burned
fought
up
in
some of the books.
Yeah, so the angels just pushed everything
Yeah.
back, and a fireball went off in one corner.
Yeah.
But
Multiple fireballs went off in one corner.
god damn, yeah,
So you've lost that
The
section.
more
But it was
useful
rad.
stuff would probably be in the restricted section.
yeah. All right, we'll start in there.
Okay.
Cool.
Mhm.
Okay, the door is still buggered from, I believe, your last time that you were here, because we had a small argument with that door.
We beat that door.
We
Door.
really didn't.
You really didn't.
We
We did know.
Categorically
We did
did not
know.
beat the door.
Took a second attempt, but
Mm.
we've done
That
it.
door had us fleeing.
3 minor angels should not have been a challenge. But that fucking door.
To be clear, yeah, I was going to say that minor angels were not the challenge.
No.
But the door.
A punch up in a small room was a challenge.
Yeah, you got your dog beat to shit. I believe is currently resting because he took a lot of damage in the
Yeah.
last fight. So my presumption is that Varro and Clifford are resting.
Yes.
I believe Varro is spending some time with Belinda, and I imagine if you
Bonding.
are going off somewhere, Clifford and Polly is not there to follow. Clifford is probably going to sit with Varro and fall asleep in his lap.
I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
Okay. So we head downstairs. As like it was last time, it gets eerily quiet the second you get downstairs. You can see now that the Knights of Ash have returned and things have sort of started to like shift back from that emergency sort of situation they were in when they sent everybody out. You can see that there is now again a member of the Light Ravens sat down here on guard duty. Because I think you asked Ursula for that.
Yeah.
And they're not sure if that's still an issue. So there is a member of the Light Ravens sat down there with a book,
Grand.
just like thumbing through pages.
Thank him for being there, and I think, yeah, we could maintain. So just
Yeah.
because we've now got a room in the temple where nobody else is coming, which is useful for stuff. Okay. We're the conspiracy. Oh my god.
Yeah, you have a secret hideout.
Yeah.
The library. You nerds. So yes, and he would nod at you and just not really interact, go back to his book. He's quite happy kind of thing, just sat there reading through his book. You enter the main library. Again, it looks quite similar to how it was last time you were here. It's mostly been untouched. You can see that there are like a few cracks starting to appear in like some of the ceiling and things like that, but it doesn't look that damaged at this point in time. Heading over to the far left corner.
Yes.
Yeah. I think when we get close to the bottom of the spiral stairs, we'll start to. I'll call it like Miriam. If you're in there,
Is she back?
it's us.
Yeah, 'cause she was,
back.
She
Yeah.
did come back.
She was flying about
Yeah,
fighting with
outside.
yeah.
Mhm.
I just didn't know if she had returned here.
She went somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Adolin spoke to her outside
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
main temple,
Mm.
and she disappeared down into the ground, and he was like,
So she could be here.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, when he pointed out that she wasn't in the library anymore, and she was like, "Oh, the books are gone."
I believe you pointed out that somebody had damaged her books,
Mm,
and then she vanished very quickly.
So she might be a bit upset if she's in here.
Upsetty spaghetti.
Okay, so like partway down, we are hollowing out to Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think there would be maybe a couple of beats as you continue to move down, and then very like suddenly this dragon head would lurch out of the floor in front of whoever's leading, and be like, "Yes,
Hello.
Oh, hello. It's us.
yes, you are you. What?
Hi. We're coming down to your library.
Why?
To read some books
We're looking for information.
to help you feel.
We have done this before, Miriam.
Do I know you?
Yes, we've met before. You talked to Adolin earlier today.
No.
Yes.
No insight check needed. She's nuts.
Why no?
Because I would remember if I'd spoken to someone today, would I not?
Good point. We are friends of Efiel, and she's asked us to come down here and help look for some information. Do you mind if we come down to your restricted section?
Fine. Vanishes down to the floor.
Adolin was like starting to like reach for his crossbow at that point, like, here we go again.
That ended so well last time.
Yeah.
And now there's less of you with less resources.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Carry on down the stairs.
Okay. I think you carry on down the stairs, and I think it would be quite easy for you to hear after like a little bit or more. You can hear voices down there, one of which is very obviously Miriam's voice. That you can hear mumbling, like loudly but incoherently to herself, and you can hear there's like a male voice answering her.
Shit,
Do we recognize it?
I think with the initial echoing, no, but as you like step closer and closer, you like can hear it a bit more clearly because it's not echoing round the stone as much. And as you get towards the bottom of the staircase, you're like, that's a siren. That is Old Man Siren.
Oh yeah.
Fuck. Down here. That's like
Ideal.
talking to Miriam.
Oh god.
Of course they get on. Of course they get on. That makes so much sense, actually.
Yeah.
I ship it.
Fuck. How do we play this?
Old man and a ghost.
What do you mean, how do we
dragon.
play it? Here is our friend talking to another one of our friends.
Siren's not our friend.
He's my best friend.
He's one of the Knights of Ash. He would.
You
Like,
just
Debatable.
He's not in the cult.
You just need to read it in a corner.
Yeah, we're
That's
just here
it.
to read.
You
I
also want
don't
to
think
talk to
he'll
him
care.
anyways about God.
William and
I'm
him
now-
wanting those
I'm
houses.
now thinking, so the Dave Matthews connection has got me, and I know it's William, so I'm thinking music, and I keep on thinking of William Tell Overture, which is a whole other...
We can turn this into a musical episode
No.
if you want, but we're gonna have to all
Maybe
sing
for
and
our
rhyme.
finale.
No, like he's not our friend. He could scupper this.
I mean...
I don't think he cares.
So yeah, there was a whole, there was an insight check thing that he failed last session.
To recognise Eufield's name as the one that slaughtered a bunch of Knights of Ash during the Crusade of the Emerald Plains.
Oh, I thought it was for a different... Maybe he made two checks.
Oh, did he?
It was for the kind of the connection of like kind of taking something to the divine plane, kind of being an illusion for ascending to divinity.
Right.
And he rolled okay from what I can recall. You'd remember better than me, and it didn't even look like he gave two shits.
My understanding is that almost everybody at the table had no concept of what was going on. He had the most clued inness. And I think you have spent a fair amount of time around him, particularly like when he's at ease and at comfort, where he's just spouting random lore. He did become quite closed off at that point, which I think indicated to you he knew more than he was saying, but it's quite difficult to understand exactly where that understanding went to, if that makes sense.
Adol's pretty nervous at this point. Like, the thing he's most worried about is that the plan gets scuppered because a high-ranking Knight of Ash realizes what's going on and is prepared to, sacrifice the city and everybody in it to stop Eviel.
I don't think the plan can be scattered. I don't actually, it's very optimistic of me, but even if a handful of higher up Knights of Ash are actually I think the fuck not, then
there are lots of other
If it's in a public enough forum, then it can be you don't get to dictate this, you don't need to come, you don't need to stay, but you don't get to dictate this for the civilians that you're supposed to be protecting. If the options are
might turn into a riot between the civilians and the knights.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of people might die. I think that's what Adolin's worried about.
It's tough, but lots of people have already died, Yeah. And then they're so hung up specifically on the buildings having to go back.
High Observer is really hung up on the buildings.
Yeah, then like it's not going to be difficult, I suppose, to draw attention to that and be like, well, why though, why, and hopefully get enough people questioning also.
I think the plan could still be scuppered. I think worst case now is like Siren realizes what's going on, immobilizes us in the basement here, heads back up, climbs a lot of stairs
I
at
think
his
he's
age.
smarter than he is loyal.
I think even if he immobilizes us, we still have the telepathic bond
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
for how long it's going to take him to get up those stairs.
Yeah, he's
think
smarter
we're
than he is
good.
loyal as well. I bet you could explain this to
Yeah.
him in a way. He actually seems like one of the more reasonable dudes. Explain it to him in a way, and this is a big kind of like disaster kind of like perspective. Like this is probably fine, but even if he were to be like, hang on, I figured out everything, you could be like, yeah, but listen to us where we're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
is this really a big deal? No, it's not.
Yes.
I think he'd be okay, but again, maybe that's just me being too optimistic.
You're on really good terms with him.
Besties.
If you want to talk to him.
Best friends.
Besties.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we head in the room? Slide into the room. Oh, that's
There's
a heavy
a small
rain.
storm in this library.
So rainy.
Apologies for the rain noises. They're peaceful, but
You're
not
welcome to
It's
the
ASMR, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not actually sure if the mic's picking them up.
There
Not
are
a clue.
3 ASMR with us today.
What?
ASMR, ASMR.
Okay, that was good.
Groan, pun, inspiration.
I'm presuming the rain is the third one, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 ASMRs and some ASMR. View, 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 view.
Okay. So you head down the final few steps together.
Jump into the library.
Jump into the light.
2-footed jump off the bottom step.
Dum.
Ta-da!
Siren is like frightened hard enough to get a heart attack.
Oh my
and
God.
dies.
Problem
in the corner.
solved.
Yeah,
Problem
sorted.
solved. Yeah.
So I think the sight that greets you is maybe not quite what you're envisioning in terms of the last time you were here,
They're
the
making out.
library was wrecked. Yes, the ancient ghost dragon and the ancient man.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
Dragons can shapeshift into people.
You've never seen Miriam do that, admittedly, but
Doesn't mean she can't.
doesn't mean she can't be a ghost human.
Is this a romantic
I was
encounter
going to
we're
say, has
interrupting?
anybody ever seen Miriam and a person in the room at the same time?
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on. Wait.
A person, any person.
Any person. I set the bar too low.
By at least 3 notches, I think, unfortunately. Yes. So I imagine you're expecting the library to still be in quite a lot of disarray from like what happened in terms of.
Like 2 days ago, yeah.
Was
Was it even 2
I
days?
don't know. I thought it was 2 days ago. It might
Something
have-
like that.
2 days ago.
It might have been 2 sleeps ago. Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of like the bookcases pushed back and one of the corners being virtually demolished by fireballs and things like that. So I think what you immediately find is that all of the bookcases, or a lot of them, are still pushed back, but it's much more orderly. The corner that was scorched, and that you can see that corner has been pulled out first, and you can see Miriam is like almost glued to the ceiling. Her wings are not visible; they are in the stone above her, kind of thing, and she is like meticulously picking through the ruins of this burned section, picking up items and trying to discern. It looks very much like she's trying to discern whether or not they're salvageable in terms of, is this book really badly burnt or slightly badly burnt, and how much you can salvage. You can see there's like several piles appearing of fine, needs work, no
Aww.
kind of
Oh,
thing.
dear.
There's a few like broken up bookcases in a pile as well. And quite prominently sat in the middle of the room on like quite a cushy armchair that you've never seen in this area before, sat at a table with like a smoking pipe and what is quite obviously like a hot cup of steaming tea, would be Sir Siren, just like flicking through a book very slowly and like chatting to Miriam. You can see that she like occasionally holds up a book and is like, the spine is gone, but the pages are there. And you can see Siren be like, is a book still a book if there is no spine?
Yes.
It's more of a leaflet.
Is it then just a collect? It might be be a leaflet.
I'm not here.
Damn it,
So sorry. He just replies like that somehow.
Somehow in your head, and you're like, oh my god.
Oh, guys, we're in trouble.
You can see they're having these kind of random discussions as Miriam is picking through the remains of her library and trying to salvage what she can. And Sir Siren is just insane with her and like commenting on stuff as she goes. You step into the room. Miriam looks up and looks back down. Does not seem to care about you being there in the slightest. But Sir Siren doesn't actually look up. He just is continuing to flick through his book at this point.
You're gonna be fine. Just do your thing.
In the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Is there any trace of the magic circle that Efi was bound in?
Yeah. It's like
Surrounding him?
scorched into the stone, like just off to the side of where he sat.
Is he sat in it or just next to it?
Kind of next to it. His chair is not within the circle.
That's fine.
Part of the table that he is working from is that he's obviously like dragged into the centre of the room. Or has
So
dragged.
much evidence in this room for him to discover.
He's just like, oh, what an interesting ceiling. Don't look at the floor.
I really love the arches here.
But yes, this is the scene that encounters you both. What would we like to do?
Hi, Sir Siren.
Oh, good evening. Is it still evening? Is it evening if there is no sun?
I was about to say that.
Bestie.
See, it does ruin the day-night cycle. It's caused so many issues, but... I did sleep more than 8 hours ago, so I will say good evening, Kai.
Good evening. What is it you're reading?
Oh, this is an interesting book. It's one of the old tomes, the histories of the Knights of Ash, from many years ago. Many years ago.
Oh, Adolin.
Years.
Adolin gets
Years
very
ago.
cold.
Crusades, mayhaps?
What, pray, are you down here for?
We're just looking for some research to double check everything will go very smoothly tomorrow.
Very smart. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I'm not sure Miriam knows where much is at the moment. Not that
I don't think
she
anyone
usually does, but good luck.
Enjoy your reading.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Adolin
Adolin just has a panic attack.
so tense. Adolin just kind of head down and just like goes to the nearest bookshelf and starts like perusing. Just like,
Ancient cookbooks.
don't look suspicious. Don't look suspicious.
Don't suspicious. Don't look suspicious.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you want to do here?
Look for a book.
Yes.
Yeah. Adolin is interested in any prior accounts of attempts to ascend to godhood, accountings of such events, and if there was any like last minute, interference.
Okay. So are you manually doing this yourself? Like going through what is left of the restricted section? Are we involving Miriam? Are we asking Sir Siren? How is this happening? And how long are we willing to dedicate to this?
Adolin's bricking himself and he's probably just going to do it himself, but like if you want, I can't think of a way. Adolin can't think of a way to ask about this particular topic without
it being incredibly obvious what we're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. Reading about it would be safer.
Mm.
Plus, like, we got time.
Yeah, we do have some time. Yeah.
The book Miriam has that are burnt but salvageable. Would prestidigitation help salvage them?
It would clean them, but it wouldn't necessarily mend that which is broken. Mending would help significantly if that is something you have access to.
I do not have mending.
Nope.
Okay. So you'd be able to get rid of soot and stuff like that.
Okay.
And clean like watermarks and things like that, but not like put a spine back on a book, if that makes sense.
Okay, if she's fine with it, can I clean the books she has and also check through them as they're being
Yeah, sure.
cleaned?
As you approach her piles, like she very suddenly lurches forwards and hunkers over them. And like,
Do you want a hand cleaning your books?
my books.
They will still be your books. They'll just be clean.
They will not leave this room.
No.
Fine. And like very slowly like slinks backwards, I think uncomfortably notice that she has moved into a much more like up over position to you, so she is very like over you while she's picking up books essentially from behind her, looking at it and then putting it into a pile. It's a little ominous.
Spy.
She's not really doing anything, she's just sort of staring at you.
Okay. Prestidigitate.
I think after the first few books she kind of gets the idea of what you're doing and backs off a little bit. But she's still within Jaws distance, I guess, is like a fairly understandable distance, if that makes sense. Okay.
Could Alan start just like investigating shelves?
Yeah, okay. So bearing in mind a lot of these shelves are pushed together, there'd be a little bit of like hoofing the shelves apart and trying to wiggle between them and then go through books and stuff like that. A lot of these books are quite damaged. There are just piles of books across the library floor at the moment that are like slowly starting to get sorted, as Miriam has apparently like started in 3 different places and keeps jumping or something like that. She has ADHD or something, I'm not sure. She's mad. Yes. So taking, I think, maybe an hour minimum. I think what you'll find is the library is in quite a lot of disarray. However, there are still useful books available in here. It's now just a case of trying to find the bloody things. So what I would like to do is to try and roll a luck roll. Because I think at this point it's sheer dumb luck, as if to whether you're looking in the right places, if that makes sense.
So is this luck just like period whether or not you find it, or is it luck in the sense of like the luckier you are, the quicker you find it?
I think if you spent several days in here, you would probably find what you're looking for. However, my understanding is you're only willing to spend up until you need to go to sleep tonight.
Okay, so the evening.
So you've got maybe 4 hours here. So it's my understanding that is the case here. And I would say there's about a 10% chance of you finding these books based on the current disarray. However, what I would like to do is every hour that you're willing to spend here, you can roll for that luck roll.
Okay.
Each roll.
So you need a 19 or a 20. If you want another pair of eyes, you can holler and I can come down.
Yeah.
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 I'm happy to.
If you think that's more helpful than
I don't know how long this conversation is continuing for.
We're continuing to eavesdrop in
useful
the main conference centre.
Exactly.
Command centre.
Are they still talking about this stuff, or is it kind of like
there have been? It's more gone into like breakout conversations at this point. Like you can see that Cezalani and his fresh captain is like having a conversation with Gregwin and the Adolin. I've briefly forgotten the name of. Sorry.
I thought the Adolin was Gregwin.
Krasik.
Krasa. Yes. They're having a conversation about logistics and stuff like that.
I don't care about logistics. Who gives a shit?
You can see William is almost. He's looking very pensive.
Yeah.
Out of a window.
Okay.
He's obviously thinking a lot of things over, but he's not saying anything.
Right. Yeah. If William specifically wasn't doing anything, making moves or talking to any specifics, or even taking people aside and being let's talk in private, that's not happening. It doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, and I can hear that these guys have got a hunt on their hand. Then I'd be happy to help.
Okay. I think what I'll do then is the first hour will pass without you, and then you can join in on the second hour.
I was about to roll that 20 anyways.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. So that's
You're
20.
shitting
Do I
me.
find the book?
You're fucking shitting me. Hang on.
You were charging up for so long.
60.
You're like, it had to happen.
I give you my energy.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
That's awesome.
Okay.
We found all the books.
So digging through a pile of books that's a bit damaged. I think what you see is Miriam tosses a book into the pile that is no.
Okay.
And there's something about it that catches your eye about what one of the titles and things like that of I think it's the book Godlings and Their Gods.
I like how you say this, you know that one, Godlings and Your Gods. I'm sure you've read it. It's the Waterstones.
Yeah. It's a great book. Thick, but great.
Which edition? First, second, or third?
Oh, is it signed by the author?
Oh, we'll have to pick it up and see. So I think, like, skittering over to the pile that, like, Miriam has obviously, like, tossed this to one side because a large chunk of this book is gone. Like, the back half of this book is basically ash, and as you pick it up, it does start to crumble away.
Oh.
But there is still a large chunk of this book available to you to sit and read. And I think even like flicking to the contents page, because it's a very well notated and academic book, flicking through like the contents page, you can see that this author is obviously very focused in on the gods, the children of gods, and ascensions and demotions of gods and stuff like that. And there appears to be large sections on each.
Perfect.
Ideal.
So is there anything in particular you want to focus in on from that?
The Ascensions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good place to start.
Are you looking through this just yourself?
I'll call you over. We can both.
How intact is this?
We can co-read.
There's large chunks missing from the back half.
Is it
Does it?
You could tear that shit in half. And
Yeah.
Does it have a spine? Could
It could quite easily be broken.
Oh God, I'm not going to break a book in front of Miriam. She'll kill me.
It does have the tatterings of a spine that is vaguely keeping it together.
Okay. If any pages can be like split off, just so we can both
And I
read
just like turn
simultaneously.
around and just, oh no!
Just so we can read it together. That's all we're looking for. Like divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Okay, so you sort of
Fighting
turn your back.
the book.
That's not possible.
I think you see like Miriam's like head twitch, and then she glances over at the book that you've got.
It was a broken one and it broke some more.
She recognises that was one of the books she has tossed into her done pile, and thus does not care. But good check. Good check. Let's not destroy a book in front of the librarian. So you managed to split the book. You can see that the back half of this book, which covers like demotions and more instances of upheaval in the gods' pantheons and things like that, that is the bit that's missing. So the ascension part of this book is roughly in the middle, and that appears to still be there. So that could be split off into its own section that somebody could sit and read.
Mm-hmm.
Of the other two previous mentioned sections is the one that you want to split off and read.
What was it like? The gods, the children of the gods,
Ascensions,
demotions is gone.
Demotions is gone, as is
Pantheons?
pantheons
Yeah.
and like their
Upheavals.
the upheavals of pantheons.
That's gone too.
That's gone too.
Yeah.
God's children or Ascensions? Which one?
I think.
We could do one each.
I think Adolin might pass you the bit on Ascensions,
Okay.
and then have a flip through like Children of Gods to see if there's any mention of Eofiel.
Yeah.
To see if it's like, or Joris for that matter. Just flicks to the section on Torm's children to see who's in there.
And I think you maybe get like a little bit through this conversation and things like that before Polly would appear.
Polly briefly considered just not coming down because why
She
fucking
can't
bother?
read.
Can't read.
I'm sorry.
Ha! You pick from the sticks with your beehives.
I was going to break that lore in the final session. How dare you? No, I like just because like you found the book, like.
Speaking of Polly lore, you still have never
I
said
know.
her last name.
Yeah. Yeah, you found the book, so I'm like, okay, well, what good am I really gonna be? But also she's bored as fuck upstairs, and then realizes telepathic bond is almost up, so gotta come back.
Gotta
down
go down
for that.
anyway.
So I'm just like, hi guys, just real quick, circle up, we'll do this again.
Circle up.
Well, there's a third section.
Do you want
so.
the third section on the gods?
Yeah, let's.
Or do you want to talk to Sir Siren, Miriam?
No, we'll do gods
I don't know.
first.
Okay.
Might be nice to put Shantae in it.
Yeah.
So the three of you gather up, and I think at this point in time, it's quite obvious that Sir Siren has shifted his chair around so he can keep an eye on you. He's very obviously like reading through his book, sipping his tea, looking at you.
Can I grab like a couple of other books
Where did you
that
get
are on?
tea?
Are you going to actively ask him
Yeah.
that?
Where'd you get tea? I thought we were out of
Starving
everything.
upstairs,
Yeah.
Oh, Miriam gave me this.
Miriam, where did you... She's
Whoa.
over there. Miriam, where did you get tea?
Miriam looks up. Where does everybody get tea?
Trees?
Miriam, could we get some reading chairs too? Please,
Why?
for reading.
You're perfectly capable of reading.
I don't know how to get it.
Where did you get it? Tea comes from the kitchen. Before it's in the kitchen, it's in the shop. Before it's in a shop, it's on a tree. Which stage of the process did you get your tea? Or was it a different stage?
Is it illusory tea? Can I make a wisdom save? Intelligence.
You can try if you like. It does appear real. He appears to be sipping it. There's the gentle bubbles. There's like sips in it.
It's not actually terrible. It's in what? Intelligence, wisdom?
Wisdom.
70.
Looks like tea.
Damn. Real chair? Real table?
Looks like it.
Fuck. Alright.
Imagine
We've
if it
seen
wasn't
really
a
the
real
wrong
chair and Sir
requirements.
Siren just could squat that long.
That's actually boss.
He's got quads of steel.
Yes.
As I pop down, can I have a peruse through a couple of other shelves and pick up some like
Light reading.
erroneous other books
Yeah.
that like
Mhm.
are not pertinent to what we need necessarily, but like maybe have a consistent theme of like
You get all the ancient cookbooks.
yeah, well, just something that if Sir Siren were to look at the spines would be like, oh, this is practical, very good, but it's not actually what we care about.
Okay.
So we can leaf through them as well, and he would be a little less sus.
Like maybe books on like higher devils and
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
Avalon's
Or
itself and
like
stuff.
planar travel,
figure
safety,
out.
you know, things like that.
Okay.
Making sure like anything about like kind of mass planar travel, so like it can maybe be being like, this is how we keep the civilians safe. Things where it's like, ah yes, very good intentioned. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, yeah.
I think it would take you a little bit to find those books as per
Cool.
the chaos that is this place. But if you're not actually fussy about what you're
I
finding,
don't-
just
yeah,
that looks
it's-
about right.
It's mostly the titles that I'm
Yeah.
interested in, so that Sir Siren can look at them and be like, yes, very good.
Okay. Cool. No, that makes sense. Okay.
Cool.
And then we huddle up together and split a book in 3 and take a chapter each.
Yeah. Let's.
Were you up telepathic bond? You said it was.
Yes,
Yes.
I'll do that.
Among a
Okay.
larger pile of less suspicious books.
Yes.
Okay.
What does your T-shirt say?
Lord of the Rings.
Yes. What's the rest of it say?
What, the Elvish?
Yeah.
It's Elvish.
Yeah. What's it say?
Is it not what just is on the
It's what's on the ring, yeah.
Is it one ring?
One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one to bring them all in the darkness behind them.
Yes.
It's a lot
In
of
the
text
black speech of Mordor.
for them to film
They're a
around.
very small ring.
Very
Yeah.
compact.
It's something magic.
Also, they made 7 rings. Why would they have the one ring that says that on it?
Because the one ring wasn't meant to be made.
Wait, sorry. What did you both just say?
Well, they made multiple rings. It wasn't just the one of them. So why would
Yeah.
they put the text on it being like, this is the one ring?
Because that's the one that Sauron made to control the other ones.
Oh, that was...
9 for mortal men doomed to die. No, wait, how's it go? 3 for elven lords in the sky, 7 dwarf lords in the halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne.
Okay.
One
I don't know
ring.
why I thought that they like collabed on this and then we disagreed.
Yeah.
They did it first.
Sort of like Sauron,
Learned smithcraft from the elves.
you made the first 3,
3.
which are uncorrupted.
I'm real not caught up on this. That's so
Was it?
not-
And
that
then
in the
they
TV
collabed-
Show?
Huh?
Was that in the TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
actually in the TV show.
And
we
in-
have watched that.
We watched the first season, yeah.
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 There was another season.
There's 2 out.
Oh.
And then
See, it was that good.
Ah.
Meanwhile,
And I
they
learned
cancelled Wheel of Time and I'm fuming.
I know!
Yeah.
Right! Right as it was getting good!
Yeah, they were actually
Sorry.
doing a decent job, and they've got
Gonna go off on
Faces
one
is
now.
pumping money into the Lord of the Rings show, which honestly, I don't.
No.
I'm like, it was fine, but Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, as it was getting good.
passed. Unacceptable.
Very tangentially related. I heard they're making an Elden Ring movie.
Yeah!
I heard that too.
With like a super serious indie movie director and
Yeah.
studio behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A24, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
A24
It could
with
only,
Alex
it
Garland.
could only
Yeah.
be
Elden Ring.
perfect. This could only go flawlessly. video game movies famously nailed.
Always go amazingly
Every
well.
time.
It's going to be an hour and a half of dodge rolling.
Remember
and
when you were like, don't derail the campaign?
We'll talk about this after.
Anyways, we're just
We read books.
Alex,
Read.
it's because we're really close to the end now and we don't want to finish. So anything that we can pad this out with.
No, we
Any
can't keep
excuses?
going forever.
Lies.
She
We
has
can
a
make this
PhD to finish. We can't keep going forever.
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. I'll
Okay.
cry.
We read.
Don't
We read.
cry.
Do we need to roll for our reading or does it just happen?
Yeah, I would like history rolls, please.
Okay.
Oh,
None of us have history.
no.
Fuck. Okay. But
Can you be convinced of investigation now that we have the books?
No.
Or religion,
No.
given it's a very religious set of books.
what I'm hoping is the DC is lower because we actually have books as opposed to
Yeah.
us just thinking real hard. So, fingers crossed. Hey, do you have any inspiration left over? Damn.
I've used them all. When I said I've got one spell slot, Misty Step and Hex.
Hang on. I'm not looking at whatever that
Incredibly
is.
average. Well
I
done.
was gonna cast guidance on you guys,
Oh.
so
You
I'm
have
good.
it. You have it.
Guidance
Can't
yourself.
cast it on yourself?
That was range of
yeah,
touch.
it's one willing creature,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
and I can cast it on anybody. So I could have
Ah.
cast it and given you all D4s.
Oh. Could
No,
we-
the die has been cast.
But it's
You're no
I
fun.
can cast it on myself. Okay.
You!
7.
I created this world and you're having fun in it. Screw you.
how'd you do?
There's no reason we wouldn't have guidance.
19.
10.
23.
23. So a 19 and a 23 is good. A 10 is middling.
Can I have a
Do you
D4?
not add anything? Okay.
To intelligence?
Yeah.
No.
Ah.
12.
No.
There's no reason I wouldn't have it.
Anyways,
Okay. I think with the 10, you're flicking through the section on gods.
Children.
You're doing children of gods. Sorry,
Yes.
children of gods. Okay.
godlings, is that what you call them?
Godlings.
Godlings
So
is the way
cute.
it was like referred to in the title. You get the
Adorable.
impression that is a word that is like the author has kind of coined as part of their work, kind of thing. They're trying to get that word going.
I'm so proud of that.
So fun.
Yeah, gods and godlings, and like if I say it enough times, everybody else will start saying it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
As the fact that none of you have really ever heard that term before, it's quite obvious it didn't quite work. However, so that section on Children of the Gods very much focuses on the differentiation between actively related individuals in the pantheon, as well as like actively had their children, direct descendants, and those that refer to their gods as father and that are referred to as child by a deity. And it talks a lot about the actual differentiation between those, because apparently there's quite a big difference. So not everyone that refers to a god as father or mother is actually a child of that god, even though they are frequently referred to. In the same way Adolin was referred to as a child of Torm, you refer to all of your other worshippers as of Torm that are roughly the same level as you as brother, sister, etc. You are not directly related to Torm as far as you're aware.
As far as I'm aware.
Which means that you're not like biologically a child of Torm. Whereas like this book goes into a fair amount of detail of there are actual biological children of the gods, although it does divulge into a small like subsection of like how these children are created, and it's not known exactly because frequently gods aren't in like the same forms as each other in terms of physical forms, so it's like how do they actually reproduce and stuff like that. That is apparently completely unclear to mortals. However, it is clear that there are multiple instances of gods reproducing either with each other or with other beings of great power to create biological descendants.
Crazy. Adolin's mind is blown flipping through this. And then I think he does... How odd. And then flicks through to like... Tries to find a section on like Children of Torm.
Okay.
Is there a family tree?
There's not family trees. I think we'll loop back to you in just a second. I'm going to jump to the 19 for gods at the moment, just now. So the 19 on gods, I think you get a hell of a lot of information of this is how gods work, this is what defines a god, etc., which gives you a lovely laundry list of stuff that you need for Earfill, but it's a laundry list that you're well aware of at this point in terms of she needs a domain, she needs power, and she needs followers. You're aware of that. It also speaks a little bit about how once godhood is gained, those three things are very flexible in terms of when they exist. Like a god can lose its domain once they have become a god, but not stop being a god. But they lose significant amounts of power and have the potential of being knocked out of godhood by other events. Please see demotion section. So you get a lot of information about that. There is then just sort of a laundry list of an encyclopedia of all of the known gods at that point in time that you can flick to specific gods.
I find Trintia, I draw a little love heart next to her name.
Aww.
See Miriam's eye twitches.
It's a broken book.
But she makes no move.
Vandalism. Defacement.
The section on Shantae is not as lengthy as some of them. It is quite obvious that while she is quite a major god, not as much is known about her. She does not apparently appear frequently, and she doesn't have the kind of following that is the sort of organised, almost militia following of Torm. It's a very free-spirited following. So not only are they very annoying to find because they're off doing good in nature and helping people kind of thing, they don't really communicate with each other as an organised system. So it's quite hard to get hold of a high-level Shantae follower unless you just actively know one, if that makes sense. It's not like I can go talk to a Knight of Ash and somebody can direct me to a follower of Torm, Tyr or Bahamut.
Fair enough.
So there's less known about her, although there is a lot about, there's a little section in there knowing that she's a fairly newer god in terms of new for them. We're still talking about before the understanding of creation, but there's a little bit in here that it's suggests that Shantae did not exist before the first, that's before the second creation, and it leaves it there.
Interesting. I wonder if she ascended the way that I was going to, or she did it the old-fashioned way, or maybe she's a Nepo baby. Who's to say?
Who's to say? And then a 23 on Ascension.
Woo!
Let's go.
On the section that we actually care about as well, so just as well.
So a 23 on Ascension would, I think, give you a hell of a lot of background in terms of the chapter is very much focused on split into two sections of the mechanics of Ascension and previous examples. I'm presuming you're kind of wanting both?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So mechanics, it talks again about how a being of immense power is the initial point of necessity of you cannot just take an ordinary mortal being and make them a god. They have to be a being of immense power. However, it does speak to length about how immense power can be obtained, and thus someone that was originally quite normal can become a god if they put in enough work, essentially, to gain that power. However, there are beings that are born with that immense power within them. It then talks a lot about the mechanics of belief, how it's not a very well-known system in terms of how do you quantify belief, how do you quantify that you have enough belief to be a god. And there's a lot of discussion and references to other books and things like that about where some scholars believe that it's about the sheer number of people that believe, others believe it's more focused on the devotion of the individuals you have. So if you, there's a bit of contrasting theory up there of it could be sheer numbers, or it could be a handful of people that truly are utterly devoted to you. There's also a bit of discussion in there that it depends also on the power of the individuals that are devoted to that individual. So the more powerful the follower,
in a corner is pretty good.
the more powerful your individual followers are
yeah.
innately, the more that counts in terms of like your faithfulness. And it also kind of works in terms of like, is social status the right word? Like a king would be worth more in terms of faith points than your average farmer.
That's so
Faith
interesting.
Yeah.
So people who have like social sway
Yes.
would be kind of more helpful.
Political sway,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of idea of what power does your people have? Is it a bunch of farmers that have got no idea what's going on and just vaguely believe in you? Or is it like a group of very powerful individuals that have a lot of sway over the world that have...
It's kind of the vibe of Chantia versus Torm, actually.
Yeah.
But like both are vibing, so I could pick from either.
It then talks a little bit about the mechanics of rituals to ascend and things like that, and I think you very quickly see like a lot of very recognizable elements that either Io has already spoken about in terms of what she needs, as well as like stuff that is you've seen. Oh, I'm so sorry, I've lost her name. High Cleric, I've forgotten her name. Arva, thank you. Arva has used elements of this to shift Parma to Avernus. There's like certain things that are required because there has to be some kind of domain claim or domain creation. There's like certain rituals that have to occur, and these rituals to you are quite familiar because they're very similar to like shifting an area in plane shifting. It's kind of what you're doing. So it's like a modified plane shift if you're trying to take one area from somewhere else to create a divine domain. So there's a lot of similarities between that ritual and the ritual that Arva used to move Pearlmire from Avernus, from the material plane to Avernus.
So could Arva have been like an element of the ritual herself, like her status as her elevated status?
Yeah.
Gave her a degree of ownership over Paramount.
Potentially, it's not fully clear to you exactly, because there are differences between those two rituals, because Arva was not attempting to create her own domain, she was simply trying to move an area. And I think that's the main difference that you see between the two rituals of, like, Arva was sheerly focused on physically moving a landmass, whereas these rituals that are gone into some detail in this book are much more focused on moving landmass and claiming it as well. There are other rituals that are detailed in this that I think you'd be less focused on, which are more about how do I physically make a domain out of nothing, how do I create a pocket dimension, etc. kind of thing. And there's a little bit of detail about that. And then there's a third option, which is how do I create, how do you take over a dead domain? Like that a god has been like ripped from or has been left to rot kind of thing. How can you move in and take over that and make it your domain effectively?
That's a fun one. Keep a note of that.
Then moving to the other half of this chapter, which is much more focused on past examples of ascension. And the primary one that the author focuses on is the ascension of the Raven Queen. Which is the most well documented one because it occurred semi-frequently. She ascended after the second creation, which makes her effectively one of the newest gods. It's a bit confusing about when these things happen because every time a creation happens, time gets ripped apart and it's quite difficult to track things back, and not many things survive through the creation periods, if that makes sense, both in terms of land masses and physical beings that have any kind of memory. And because time gets shattered every time, you end up with something like Miriam, who can't remember where things are placed because there's no link between, there's no time there anymore. But it is well known that the Raven Queen's ascension occurred after the second creation, and you're in that time at the moment. So it's a fairly well documented event in terms of it's almost like the ancient Egyptians inscribed stuff, and we can go back and read that kind of thing. Like, you don't get the whole picture because you weren't there, and time has eroded some details. We've lost a lot of books and things like that. However, you can get much more of a gist, as it were, as opposed to like before Ice Ages kind of thing, where we virtually have no information about what was going on other than bones kind of thing.
Yeah, above the table. Is there like Vecna? Is there a Vecna mentioned in here at all?
Nobody's come across him yet.
Ooh, interesting.
But yeah, you would see that the Raven Queen's ascension was well documented in terms of she had a large mass of followers that were attempting trying to save their civilization from a collapse. There was some kind of natural calamity that was happening, and they were trying to ascend her to get away from it and use her as a power to like move themselves. There's then a fair amount of like, not sure what happened. She's sort of corrupted and things, and that's how she's ended up as the god of death, because that wasn't their intention. And it also ripped all of those elves up into the Shadowfell to become the Shadow Elves. In terms of other examples, there's a couple. There's quite a number that are like examples of like demigods that shift up and down, because that happens a hell of a lot more frequently. Particularly in Avernus, the archdukes and duchesses of Avernus, of the Nine Hells, are considered demigods. But that is very much like a political position. Like, they gain and lose that position based on like their political standing and how they match up with their Asmodeus and things like that, because he kind of keeps them in check. So there's a lot of recorded history of dukes getting like undermined politically and like seen to be embarrassed, and thus they get demoted and somebody gets like promoted because of that. That is very normal for the Nine Hells, but it's not really seen across the other dimensions, if that makes sense. Demons appear to be utter chaos. It is completely random who's in charge at any one time. It's not really known how the power shifts, because it's not necessarily upon the death of the original demon. Like, some of the demons survive, but the power shifts to something else and they become a demigod and stuff like that. And there doesn't appear to be any kind of grand design to the demons. It's just this roiling mass of anger kind of that sweeps across. In terms of good gods that have ascended, there's none that appear to have ascended in like living memory or within the time that is like after the second creation, which is when most of the well recorded history is. There does appear to be several theories that there have been attempted ascensions in that time. In terms of, there's been a couple of good gods that have attempted to ascend. There's also like a small section on Bahamut in there, because it was known that Bahamut was not a god at the time of the second ascension, but he is now a god. And it's very unclear as to what happened. At some point Bahamut ascended, and nobody can work out exactly what happened there.
Interesting.
A lot of the theories surround that he was simply a great dragon, and was very old and very powerful, and he had enough followers in terms of just...
You just woke up one day and was like, oh shit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
There's a bit there of just... He became such a powerful being. He owned a section of a pocket dimension that was his lair. And then he had enough followers, and it just sort of divulged from there. It's very unclear what happened with Bahamut.
Interesting.
But it was certainly not malicious.
Yeah.
There's also then a small section at the back of that talks about power shifts and how ascensions typically only happen when there is a gap. So if there is a need for a god, people will start to follow that god or follow an individual that they think fits the bill of that god, etc. And then they fill into that gap within the pantheon. So there are certain domains that are like law, order, civilization. I think some of the key tenets of the Knights of Ash, and they come from the gods' domains.
Yeah.
Peace, balance with nature is one of Shantaea's ones. when there's a gap, as in a god is no longer fulfilling that domain, that's when it's much more likely for somebody to ascend up into that domain. It's also thought that that's what happened with the Raven Queen, is that she wasn't originally aiming for being the god of death, but there was a gap there, and that's where she's ended up.
Do we know of any present gaps? Is there kind of like a sense, or has there been like observations in the world of such a kind of instance of that over the past couple of years?
You can make me an Arcana check, if you like, to try and have a better understanding of exactly how that... I would also take a religion check, actually.
Can anybody in the bond try it?
If you're working as a group, and Isla's alright with that.
Guys, should I choose a +2 or a +2?
+2.
4, just add both of them.
You'll get different information based on which one you tell me as well.
Okay, does anybody have proficiency in religion?
C.
No.
And you have it in Arcana.
Yes.
What one are you going to roll?
I'm going to roll religion.
Okay.
But I think I'm the only one with proficiency, so I'll just roll straight.
Okay.
I roll Arcana, and then you can pick.
I mean,
Lena's not in the bond, is she?
No,
wait.
it's just us three.
Guidance.
Okay.
I'll do each of us. I'll you think real hard.
Yeah.
Okay, now you think real hard. Okay, now I'll think real hard.
Well, that we're just like poring over
Oh, dear.
books, and you're like, every 5 minutes, guidance.
I just
Guidance.
punch you in the shoulder really consistently. Ha! You're welcome.
The D4 rolled better than the D20.
Oh no.
4
I'll go
on the
for
D4.
Arcana.
4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's still a 19.
A 19. Okay.
How
Oh,
did you get better than
baby.
Plus 12.
13?
13.
Wait,
For Arcana.
13.
13.
32.
What? Shit.
18 for 10. Plus 10.
Wow.
Expertise, no int, just expertise.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Alan's a bookworm.
So
You're a
I,
He's read his
nerd.
good book.
Uh-huh.
I think with a 13 in Arcana, I don't think that's going to tell you an awful lot. I think with a 19, you would know that you've obviously just caused a small gap in the shifts of the lower planes in terms of you've just killed the Archdevil Zariel, so the
Oh, that's true.
the,
Shit.
the Nine Hells are currently probably reshuffling in terms of power. Somebody will have to fill the gap of the Archdevil Zariel at some
They're
point.
interviewing.
They are
Yes,
currently
yeah.
interviewing for the position,
Yeah.
trying to find suitable candidates, and trying to make sure it's a speedy and smooth process transition. In terms of upper planes and the neutral planes, I think you'd be aware that there doesn't appear to have been any like calamities in the last wee while in terms of gods dying or being demoted, so there doesn't appear to be a gap currently. That isn't to say that
I'm more curious about like gods slacking, you know? Gods who are
Just really phoning it in at work.
well just like or like yeah, one of their tenants they're just kind of leaving behind.
I guess would Adolin know on that if he was to, properly interrogate, putting his beliefs aside and like, my gods are infallible. Have any of the gods of the Knights of Ash, does it feel like any of their domains have been slipping?
do you feel that?
Adolin's very disillusioned at this point in time.
I feel that. The Crusades really
Yeah,
That's a good
that was
while ago, though.
that was a good while ago.
I know, but like
It's more like
everything
to
is-
you.
Yeah.
I think there's an aspect of mercy perhaps that's not there. They're pretty
Hardcore.
the Knights they're not fussed about really upsetting people or slaughtering innocents for the sake of civilization or just hey Adolin, here's your dead parents, have some fun talking
Yeah.
about it.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
maybe in that regard, yeah.
So you got 33.
32.
Yeah? 32. Yeah.
Well, that's
Nice.
terrible.
That changes everything. I think with 32, what I can do as a DM is then politely nudge you as the player in terms of you're well aware of what Torm's tenets are, yes?
I've not looked at them in a while.
Now it's Torm.
Law, order, and civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Those are his main tenets.
Right.
In terms of what you've uncovered, the Knights of Ash, throughout this campaign,
They're really unlawful.
how do you feel he's interpreting those?
They're
And
that
that his
gross,
followers are
like-
interpreting those?
There's a real schism in order because it seems like a sizable chunk of the Knights of Ash have splintered off to form a cult.
They defected, yeah.
So Order's heading out some more. I don't know if they're doing much with civilization at the moment. Like they've got their own city, but
yeah.
like have they gone out on any new crusades since the Emerald Plains? It doesn't.
I would never interpret civilization as like let's get more recruits and more like let's treat the people that we have with kindness and respect.
Hmm.
You know?
Oh, I think they're slacking on that as well then.
I mean, from what we've seen here, they're doing an okay job, but I don't know that much about Pearlmire.
I mean, the city itself runs well, but there was... What was the other one about Adolin's trials? They brought in some like young girl who was like stealing bread.
That's right! Jesus Christ, that was fucked. That was absolutely fucked. That was like that was bad on law, bad on order, bad on civilization.
Definitely bad on civilization, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Torm is slacking.
In all
Or
of
at
them.
least the followers are slacking and Torm isn't holding them accountable.
Yeah. I mean, law's an iffy one, right? Law's kind of what you make of it.
Is that girl still here? Did she
Jesus.
get home okay? Or is she still here?
You don't know.
We haven't seen her since.
Oh my
I like
god!
the idea that we're just sitting quietly reading and then Polly just yells out.
So Siren like drops his
That
book.
tiny
Like,
little
oh,
girl!
no, my
Oh my
tea.
god! She sprints up the stairs. She's gonna go looking for her. Goodbye. I have my own campaign now. I am concerned. Maybe we can do it. To take a.
That's the epilogue.
And the yeah.
Mm.
Oh my god! She's away from her parents. I mean, I don't think she had parents, but like.
I mean, that was part of the problem. Did she
Yeah.
like steal some bread to like feed her little brother or something?
For her little kid sibling, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So away from, she was the literal breadwinner, and now, oh my god, she might be getting fed better than they are.
So yes, I think we have some issues with civilization and order at the moment.
Upon reflection, even more than I previously thought. Yeah.
Okay. I think that would give you a lot of information because I don't think I, as the DM, can give you a definitive answer without ruining a campaign.
I
kind of
really
thing.
liked that reply. That was very much like how I try and explain a concept to a student who actually already knows the answer. Being like, I'm just going to do like ask a leading question and you're going to fill in the blank. That's what a 32 gets you.
32 is, what do you think about this?
Let's try some introspection.
Figure it out.
You've had the answers inside of you all along.
Aww. It's very good.
The proof is trivial and left as an exercise to the reader.
I would never do that to my kids. They deserve better than that bullshit.
Yes.
Adolin considers that and thinks, yeah, you know what, the Knights of Ash do have some issues, and then follows that to, which means that they're a little bit, Torm's a little bit shaky on those domains, which then means, oh my god, are we going to replace Torm with Eofiel? Oh my god, that would be such an upheaval. Oh, that makes me very nervous and unsettled because that's sort of change.
That doesn't change a lot, actually. It just means that they get to say a different name instead of...
It's just a different person doing the same stuff.
Everything else
Which means very
should
little to
be
follows, yeah.
improved, surely. Nothing.
Depends what happens to the Knights of Ash, though, doesn't it?
Change
Because the
that.
Knights of Ash are dedicated specifically to a series of gods.
They just need to rebrand their armor. It's fine.
Theoretically.
Oh god, I suppose the real question is like if it were to be that extreme, would Io have to then butt up against Tyr and what's his name?
Bahamut.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the particular
Is
domains,
that
right?
why you got that model? Is this our end?
Are we
game?
gonna
We're gonna have to
fight
fucking
Bahamut?
That'd be
kick
fucking
Bahamut's
sick.
ass. He's so big.
There's a lot of
Guys,
Bahamut
he's
out
huge.
Well, what if, like,
Yeah.
Torm's domains, if it's Lord and Civilization, and we're less certain that, like, all three of them are weak, and maybe it's just one or two, if it splinters, Torm could still be like the god of law, and then Io gets order and
Yeah.
civilization.
He's doing a bad job of law.
I mean, who writes the law? His followers are upholding a law that they themselves might have written,
Yeah.
which is like, I've
It's real ACAB vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we've been having this silent conversation,
Yes.
is Sir Siren still watching us suspiciously?
Yes.
Can
And
I
particularly as I feel like you're getting more and more
can I roll
agitated as a group.
insight on him?
Yeah.
And like he has like actively stopped reading.
Do a
and
wee
is just
vibe
sort of
check.
What was it he was
contemplating.
reading again?
He was reading a book about the histories of
Oh,
the
yes.
Knights of Ash.
May I vibe
Yes,
check him?
You can vibe check.
Advantage.
Thank you.
check.
Proficiency.
I'll guidance myself because I remember that's a thing I've got now.
And then
Insight's not
You
great.
guidance yourself and stare at Sir
29.
29.
You stare into his soul.
I think with a 29, you would almost like
Oh.
definitely like you can see that he is completely focused on the three of you now.
Yeah.
His book is down, his tea is like to one side, and
cold.
he's just sort of like gently stroking his goatee and like contemplating the three of you. And like he actively sees you, sort of like
Check her.
glancing, vibe checking him, and then
Yeah.
he just as softly smiles at you three.
Does it seem like there's a fondness there? Does it seem like there's like a quiet suspicion?
I think
Does it
with the
seem
29?
like 29?
Yeah.
I think with the 29, one thing that you would definitely get from that you've maybe not picked up on before is the sharp intellect in
Yeah.
his eyes.
No,
Yeah.
he's a smart
He's
dude.
a smart guy.
I think that
And he's
he's
very old.
very eccentric, but I think maybe even could play it up easy enough. Like I think he's a bit old, but like he's not like away with fairies. But like yeah, so does it seem like he is staring at us with suspicion, with kind of like an optimistic
Oh, I think you're
look?
seeing a lot
Is
of
it-
curiosity.
Okay, and is it, and it's not like, because obviously there's different types of curiosity. Sometimes I can be curious about something because I want to know because I'm very nervous about the outcome, versus I'm curious because I too am invested and I kind of.
I think the
I'm
facade
excited.
that you're seeing is a very calm facade, but I don't know, there's a slight smile to his face, and there's that sparkle of intellect and curiosity in his eyes. I don't
Okay.
think you've quite seen before.
What's up?
How many charges of divine sense do you have left?
Um,
I'm getting real suspicious of this guy.
I think that he's chill. I think that he is just.
I'm not entirely convinced he's mortal at this point.
No, I think he's just a smart old man. But I've got plenty. I've got all of my divine senses. I'll do one.
Yeah?
Divine sense. Is
Okay.
there a ghost dragon in the room?
She would count as an undead, so I
Yeah.
think your divine sense picks that up.
Yes. Good and evil. Also the location of any celestial fiend or undead.
Okay, so you pick up both of yourselves as celestials because you have a celestial spark within yourselves.
Why don't we as that?
Together
Yeah.
to have your
So do you
little
want-
like team
Do
domain.
you want civilization? I'll take order and we'll
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
We'll double team Torm.
I can't imagine Polly doing civilization.
I think she could do it.
More than order.
I think she could do it for sure. She
I
loves
think we-
people. Big fan.
Yeah, but civilization is like also leads to like organized building and stuff like that and like community, whereas I feel like
Yeah,
she's
no.
very
Are you
Druidic.
kidding? She came from Plenty, where it was like big on community. Her family is huge and it's mostly not people who are related to her. Like, I think she could nail this. Let's do it.
She'd definitely get the community side, yeah. Okay.
We're on like our third season of the hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
Weather season.
It's
right.
really weathery outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've forgotten. Was there a question in there?
Divine,
Divine
sense.
sense.
Divine sense, yes.
So sorry.
You're both here.
Yes, you're both here. Miriam is most definitely an undead. You are definitely picking up that Siren has like some kind of divine energy.
Oh.
But he's not a celestial.
I think based on past experience, you're having difficulty telling the difference between someone that's like yourselves that has a
Yeah, I was
strong
gonna say
divine
like
spark
I remember when I
versus
did when
like
I did
a
it
full
with
god.
no, because I would know if it was a full god because I did divine sense on Io and you said it almost
It was
blasted
like-
me back. So like there is
Certainly
a
not that strong.
okay. Is it more powerful than say looking at Adolin?
Yes.
I'd like to apologize. I really did think he was just a dude. He's just
So more powerful, like he's a paladin or a cleric.
It could potentially be that he's a very high member of the Knights of Ash, and it could be that he just has a very strong divine spark. It could also be that he is a being that you don't quite understand yet. I'm not sure you have the ability to tell the difference between the two.
While I'm here,
Yes.
I also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated. Just curious. This
no.
was consecrated once, because it was, hallowed land, and now it definitely
It's
certainly
not.
isn't. I was just checking nothing
It's
had
not
been.
desecrated, which is
Yeah, I
something.
was hoping
that's good,
that
that's
wasn't the case.
It ain't hallowed, but it ain't desecrated.
Cool. Okay, I don't think I have anything else that could be very helpful.
Is there a physical representation of that happening at all? In terms of do you think there's any outward expression of Polly using that ability?
I don't think so. Let me just check.
Jesus.
It's getting very stormy outside. Ooh.
We had the rain, then we had the sun, now we have the wind.
We've had the hail as well.
We had the
Yeah.
hail, yeah.
I don't like the wind.
Visit Scotland.
You only need to come for a day and you'll have an entire year.
Yeah. Although last week was gorgeous, and the week before,
Yeah.
so
That
nice.
pigeon is suffering.
Let him
It just
in.
got blown sideways.
Let him in, Alex.
No!
Absolutely not.
You said you've been collecting them. What's one more?
I'm sorry, you want the pigeons inside?
Yes.
No.
Stand by it. No, it doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
Maybe it's like a little kind of just like film of the eyes. It's like a little filter goes over my eyes, like it flips down for celestial, it flips down for undead, it flips down for fae, and I'm like checking through all of them.
That's cute. I like it. Awesome. Okay. So Siren is very definitely watching you very carefully. It's not being very sneaky about it.
Yeah.
He is actively just watching. I think it might be a good time to take a quick comfort break, just for 10 minutes.
Once we figure out what we're gonna do to Sir Siren.
Yeah. There was some
Kick
last
his ass.
little bit about children of the gods.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
you had
yeah.
a question that
I'll
you
circle
said
back.
you were gonna.
I was going to look at the
circle
section on
back
Tom. I think Adolin would flick through Bahamut, Tormentir, just being the gods of the Knights of Ash. But yeah, after the break, or
No, we can do that before the break if you like. So I think Bahamut is the easiest to do in the it's well documented that Bahamut has several children, which are all in common law in terms of he has actively declared them as his children as well.
Ooh, cool.
It's a little bit confusing as to whether they are actively living dragons or whether they are godling beings that take the form of dragons. There's a lot of debate around that, but they appear as a variety of dragons. So there are he has three children at the moment. One that appears as a gold dragon, one that appears as a silver, and there's one that appears in a more ghostly form that appears to do a lot of plane hopping and disappears off into the ether.
It's not Miriam, is it?
That
Miriam?
one.
Miriam.
No, Miriam is a well-documented silver dragon that is
Okay.
not connected to Bahamut in that way.
Cool.
There's
Dragon
this
demigods are cool.
shadow demigod that is it jumps across the ether of the universe
Sick.
and goes and helps people effectively, but is this really straight. It doesn't have that child doesn't appear to have a form. It's more like a cloud. It's quite interesting.
Cloud dragon.
Tyr doesn't have to have any declared children, although there are a couple of his higher angels that are known to come and help individuals when they're called upon, that they suspect might physically be related, but there's no proof. Tyr's never claimed them.
Tyr's domain's justice is his main one, right?
Yes.
The
Justice and law.
justice and law, because he's the Norse Tyr.
Yes. It comes from the Norse Tyr. Yeah. He also dips a little bit into war as well, but
Sick.
it's not one of his major domains. Torm has two declared children. One of which is considered dead.
Oh.
The other one is considered, what's the right term? Partially ascended as well. So that the children aren't necessarily like automatically demigods. They have the automatic ability to be if they choose. One of them is a demigod and follows his father like actively as like a high angel of Torm, and I think this second entry is the one that you're going to find the most interesting as the child of Torm that is considered dead. The name next to it is Eophil as his daughter, like daughter of Torm, and it's considered that she is past. She died during a battle.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Doesn't say who the other one was.
It's
Jim.
I think his name is Neophil.
Siren.
Eophil and Neophil.
Neophil.
That is
Neo.
You really phoned it in on this. Whoever was second. I pity them.
Yeah, I think it is Neophil. I'll have to double check that.
Twins.
We're big Matrix fans.
Yes.
Aww.
It is at the time of writing of this book, he is alive and he is a higher angel of Torm.
Cool. Wonder if he'd be interested to know if his sister's alive.
Yeah, I mean, whose side would he be on, I wonder? Would he miss his sister? Would he be like, actually, no, I led the charge and her... I knew she was alive this entire time. I knew she was trapped. Damn.
Yeah. Maybe we can ask Guy when we get back upstairs.
Maybe. Touchy subject though, we should be
Who
careful.
trapped her in her box?
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on this Glasgow 2024 Twitch stream. We hope you enjoyed it. We don't have many sessions of this left. This is 28, 29.
It's 29.
And we're not anticipating there to be too many more now.
Right.
We're nearly all done.
There might only be one left if we get TPK next time.
Yeah.
Don't say yes. You're supposed to go, no, you're going to be too fine.
But thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you on the next stream of Let's Roll Hell and High.
Fare thee well.
15th of June.
Bye.